For the week 3 programming quiz, you're going to get to use Visual Studio. So the first step is to set it up. You're going to create a new project. You're going to make sure it says Console App for C++ and Windows. And then you're going to click Next. And this time I want you to name your project your name. So for me it'd be Ladley, and then comma, and then my first name. Choose where you want to save the project. Make sure that box is checked right there. And then say Create. Now my source code file is the one that says Ladley Mike CPP up at the top. I'm going to click it, and now I'm going to clean it up a little bit. Make sure that I put using namespace std. We don't need this line of output anymore. But what I do need is that heading that matches up to the format rules for this week. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there right now so I know I got it right. Next, I'm going to open the quiz. See, I haven't opened the quiz until now. I read the directions, and I choose to take it. Then I get to spend a little time with Proctorio doing a scan, and I start reading the directions for the questions. There's 2 parts in here. So part 1, I read the directions. And once I've got that, then I'm going to go back to Visual Studio and start writing the code. So I'll go ahead and put a comment that says part 1. Declare my variables. Get the input that the problem told me to get, and print the output in the way that it said to. So now I'm going to run my program and check it. I entered the example values so I can check it against what they said I should have. And then I'll go back. The big thing here was the colons lining up. So I'll go back and check my code, and yep, they lined up. So I think I've got this one. Now I'll start on part 2. It should say part 2. I'm learning to count, so there's my practice over there on the right. I'll start writing that code. Now, the red squiggly under the average, I put my cursor on it and says I never defined it. So I've got to go back up, declare another variable. The same thing's going to happen to you sooner or later. And that does away with the squiggly, and I finish my code. Now I want to test this one. Now, wait, that's from part 1. It's still there. So I'll go ahead and enter the stuff. And now I'm getting to part 2 where I can enter those values. Now, if I didn't want to go through the first part every time I'm checking the second part, I can go back to my code. So let's go back to it. And I can comment out the part 1 stuff. So I drag my mouse across it. I hit Control-K-C, and that'll comment all of that out. So now, when I go back and I run this again to test it, it just skips to part 2 because I commented out part 1. That seemed to work. Now I'll go back and I'll take the comment symbols off of my part 1, so it's no longer commented out. And just to be sure, I'll just test the whole thing one more time. I'll just put numbers in there, make sure everything's working. Here's part 2. Yeah, it seems to be. So I think I'm good here. The next step is I want to attach my source code so I can submit my quiz. So I go to the folder where I saved my program, Notice it's got my name because that's what I did. I want the CPP file with my name. I choose it, it loads it, and then I'm going to come down and I'm going to say submit the quiz. And that's it.